everybody. Welcome to our Flameworking demonstration here at the Corning Museum of Glass. My name is Tom. I'll be the Flameworker here today, and we'll get some things started. Alright, so we start with a flame. That makes some sense. This is a beautiful torch that is specifically built for glass artists like myself. What we're doing here is we're burning natural gas and oxygen. When we do that, we can reach temperatures of almost 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty incredibly hot. Sounds hot, but just for a little bit of context, lava coming out of a volcano is about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This thing is twice as hot as lava. Now we take this room temperature glass and we toss it right into this flame and it just starts to melt. Now most glass can't do that. Most glass would really explode and crack and break into lots of little pieces. But this glass does just fine. That's because this glass has a special ingredient, which is boron. When we add boron to the mixture, we get a glass that can much more readily expand and contract with rapid heat change. Now you may have heard that glass is made out of sand, and that's true. It's just not sand on the beach. Sand on the beach has too much other stuff in it, like coral and rocks and seashells and things like that. So this sand for this glass is mined out of the earth and then refined. Soda ash is added to it to lower the melting temperature of the sand. And limestone is added as a stabilizer so this glass doesn't deteriorate over time. So here I build up a little bit of heat. And we start kind of melting down the two rods and stick them together when we have enough material here to make the body of the piece that we want to make. This piece that we're making here is going to be a bird. So we're going to first work on the tail feathers of the bird with this crimp tool. We're going to squish and squeeze the glass, get this really beautiful texture. Tail of the bird. Give that a good squish and squeeze. But the metal tools absorb a lot of heat out of the glass. So we quickly go back into that flame, warm things up again. We'll give this a little bit of a stretch, and a little bit of a twist. A little bit of gesture to our piece here. So at this point, I'd like to work on the other end of that bird, the head and face area of the bird itself. So what we'll do now is we'll actually flip the piece around with a secondary rod called a punty. This smaller rod in my right hand will be our handle while we finish shaping up the rest of our piece. A little bit of heat on the end and then we'll attach this to the belly of the bird. And we do that outside of the flame. I paused for a second and what I've done is I've made a cold connection. This punty rod in my right hand being a colder connection, it'll be weaker. We'll be able to break that free from the belly of the bird a little bit later on in the process, really at the end of the process. So we'll accumulate a little bit of material here for the head of the bird. A little bit more glass built up, and then pull away that original rod. A little bit of heat, a little bit of gravity, get that to kind of stretch and elongate a little bit. Create a nice shape for the head of the bird here. Now we want to add on the wings, and when we add on the wings, we want those to be permanent, right? We want those to stick on there and not break off or anything. So we'll bring over some more glass. But what we'll do is we'll also heat the side of the bird. So the strength of the glass-to-glass connection is dictated by the temperature. The hotter a connection is, the stronger it'll be. So if I see a little bit of an orange glow on the side of the bird itself, that lets me know that both pieces of glass are basically going to flow into each other and become one piece of glass, basically. A little extra heat. Squeeze that material, reheat that glass, give that a little more of a stretch. right in the right moment, we can remove that extra glass. Now this piece that we're making, this is just going to be clear glass. But if we wanted to, we could colorize this piece, and we would do that in there's many different ways. But some of the more common ways would be to basically just start with colorized rods of glass. Be able to make the whole piece out of colored glass. But the colorized glass is quite a bit more expensive than the clear glass. So if we can, what we like to do is coat the clear glass in colored glass. And we would do that with what we call frit. These little chips of glass color. They could stick to the surface like sprinkles sticking to an ice cream cone. Then we could heat it up and melt it nice and smooth. The different glass colors are made by adding different metal oxides and chlorides to the raw materials of the clear glass. Iron oxide turns the glass green, cobalt turns the glass blue. Some of our ruby reds and pink colors are made with gold chloride. They tend to be a little bit more expensive than some of the other colors. Alright, a couple wings on there. Our next part of the process will be to add on a hook onto the back of our piece. So not so anatomically correct, but it'll make it so that we can hang our piece up in the window here and people can take a look at it tomorrow. Or in the future you can hang this up on a tree or something like that if you wanted to make it into a little ornament. A little heat. And you can see we turned the torch down, way down, so that we can sneak some heat in between the wings without melting away the detail of the wings. This is one of the things that flameworking really nicely lends itself to, is these much smaller, more detailed little maneuvers. We get a nice little hook on the back of the bird. So now we'll go over back towards the face of the bird and we'll do a beak. And this is kind of my favorite part of the process. I really feel that this brings the piece to life a little bit. So we'll heat this up on the front end of that piece. Give this a little pull and stretch. Yesterday I made one of these. They're more like a hummingbird with this big long beak. Do something kind of like that here for this one today. Make sure that's nice and straight. There we go. Now our final little bit of detail here is actually a little bit of glass color. I do have this little blue rod of glass. I don't know if you can see that on the screens. But we'll be able to draw a tiny little dot of blue glass on for an eye. Just a little bit of all it needs. Yeah, really small. Just a little indication of the eye. There we go, that looks nice. Now, the final step for a piece like this is the slow cooling process. I'll put this up on the screen so everybody can get a closer look at some of that detail. You can see the hook. Get the hook on there. And what we'll do here is we'll place this piece inside of a kiln. It'll slowly cool down overnight, and that alleviates any stress or strain left in the glass. If we just let it cool in the room temperature air, that can cause stress, and stress can cause cracks. So we definitely don't want that. So we'll break this piece free. I warmed up my tweezers because I don't want to touch that glass with anything that's cold right now. So we'll build up a little bit of heat. And we'll melt that pretty smooth on the belly of the bird. It gets actually so smooth that you'd never know that this rod was ever even attached. I don't know if you can see it. The screens are not there. So this will go in a kiln. The kiln's 1,060 degrees Fahrenheit. And it stays at that temperature all day. At the end of the day, we put it on a computer-controlled cycle. We slowly step the temperature down, and you can see that piece at room temperature again tomorrow. There you have it, folks. Little bird for you.